Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee. Where in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at The Mandalorian Season 2, with Temuera Morrison not only returning to play Boba Fett, but another character as well. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee. Like I said in my last couple of videos, especially yesterday's video, we talked about the fact that Star Wars is still in full force. No pun intended. I just said that and now it's a pun, so scratch that. Anyway, Temuera Morrison is going to be returning to play Boba Fett in The Mandalorian Season 2. This was an exclusive by The Hollywood Reporter, and then Variety picked it up, and then every other outlet picked it up, including every other major outlet. So there is pretty good inside information on this, that this is very credible, that Temuera Morrison will return to play Boba Fett in The Mandalorian. So, we have some good news on that. And this article that we're going to take a look at today comes from Nerdist, written by Kyle Anderson. And what this suggests is that not only will Temuera Morrison return to play Boba Fett, but he'll also return to play Captain Rex, which I talked about at length, more in depth in terms of a crossover between The Mandalorian and Star Wars Rebels in yesterday's video. So if you guys want to take a look at that, I will have that up for you with a card to click here, and here's the thumbnail of what that looks like. So, anyway, let's get to this Nerdist article. Really huge news from a galaxy far, far away on this Friday afternoon. Disney Plus hit The Mandalorian will expand its roster of legacy Star Wars characters in Season 2. We know that fan favorite Ahsoka Tano will reportedly head to live action in the next season, which is currently in post-production. Now we know none other than Boba Fett, the first bounty hunter to sport the Mandalorian armor, will make an appearance, and portraying him will be none other than Temuera Morrison, who played Jango Fett 18 years ago in Attack of the Clones. The unconfirmed by Lucasfilm News comes from The Hollywood Reporter, who also say that Boba Fett will have a brief appearance in the show. This confirms the long-rumored belief that the feet we see walking toward Fennec Shand do indeed belong to Boba. That was on Tatooine after all, which would make sense. So, again, for those of you who haven't known, this is where we get that Han Solo wannabe bounty hunter in an episode with Mando where they're trying to cross the Tatooine desert to look for this bounty on this individual, and he ends up dead because he's an idiot. Anyway, I really thought that episode was like the worst one of the season, just awful. But I'm glad we're going to be getting some good out of it and picking up that storyline. So, that's the good news on it. Anyway, now you're probably wondering how Boba Fett can reappear since he died in the belly of the almighty Sarlacc. Well, there's a precedent for it. In a decanonized comic, so in the EU, or I guess it's called Legends in Star Wars, we learn that Boba Fett crawled out of the Sarlacc's mouth after several months, since digestion takes over 1,000 years. Plus, you can't beat the strength and durability of the Beskar steel. We already know that, how strong Beskar is. So, Morrison portrayed Jango Fett in the second Star Wars prequel film. Jango was the genetic basis for the entire line of clones that became the Grand Army of the Republic in the Clone Wars, which then turned on them in Order 66. Jango demanded one clone remain unaltered, without a sped-up growth rate, for him to raise as a son. This, of course, was Boba Fett, who was just a child in that movie. Now you're probably wondering where in the continuity is the Rex and all of this. So however the continuity decides to explain his appearance, let's not discount the idea of another clone, since clones seem to factor heavily not only in Star Wars currently with The Mandalorian, but also in The Rise of Skywalker with Palpatine being able to force his energy into this clone from the Death Star too. It'll be great to see Temuera Morrison return. His portrayal of Jango and subsequently the clone troopers themselves were a highlight of both movies. Though he had such a little screen time in the original trilogy, an icon Boba Fett is. That really is the reason that The Mandalorian succeeds, having based on this idea of the Mandalorian and what Mandalorians are. So, and while the report doesn't mention it, Nerdist says it's also highly probable that Morrison won't just play Boba Fett, but reliable sources agree that Captain Rex will appear in, and of course what they're referring to here is that Jordan Mason tweet that I was talking about as well. And the Jordan Mason tweet reads, looks around, whispers a small tidbit I also heard. Boba Fett isn't the only role Temuera Morrison will play in the show. Now, Jordan Mason is editor-in-chief at Cinlinks, founder of Real Outreach Charity, and he's all about Star Wars and occasional artist for Topps. So, he is not like the biggest name, but he is on the inside of everything that is happening over there. So, he's been touted as a credible source from various sources and has continued to be right. So, now I'm picking him up as one as well. So, now we're getting multiple confirmations from, well, multiple agreements, I should say, from Nerdist, from myself, from other Star Wars YouTubers, from multiple outlets like The Hollywood Reporter and Variety, that Temuera Morrison will play as Boba Fett. And we're getting that Ahsoka news, so it only makes sense that Rex would appear as well. And I essentially read that Nerdist article to you guys to illustrate the fact. What I thought they did well is illustrate the fact that Temuera Morrison, they illustrated the history of this really well. They were really articulate with illustrating the history of how Boba Fett came to be and why he could still be around, talking about the Legends aspect of his return. And so I wanted to read that to you guys. And because the Rex part is literally a couple of lines at the end of that article, talking about Jordan Mason and agreeing that he's talking about Rex when talking about that that's not the only character he's going to be playing. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. May God bless you, and the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe.
Do it!
And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.